Welcome to Poker Stories Behind the Scenes, the podcast where we chat with interesting people from the poker world and share their stories, experiences, and insights. So today we have a very, very special guest, Denis, aka Gragik, who has been involved in the poker industry for over a decade and has a wealth of knowledge to share. He is a well-known high-stakes PLO player, poker pot limit Omaha player for people who probably don't play poker as much, and a poker coach. Denis, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
How are you
Hi
doing?
guys. Hi guys. I'm good. I'm good. Staying in Russia right now, uh, like in my motherland, and planning some journeys for sure. So,
All right, great, great. So, can you actually start by telling us a little bit more about your background in poker? How did you get into the game? What were you doing before you started poker? And why did you actually start playing it for like turning into a pro?
yeah. So I started as you said. I started like more than 10 years ago. I would say it's like even close to 15. So uh, first of all, like I all my life I had like a big dream. First of first dream was to become a soccer player or football. I don't know how do you call it, right?
Uh,
When I was still in school, then I read some books and was dreaming of becoming a scientist. I thought scientist was so romantic and everything. So with that dream, I entered the university. Spent like 6 years in the university studying material science. I had perfect grades and everything. And by the end, like in the middle of the university, I already started playing poker. So you can tell that I had my third dream of becoming a poker pro, and like science was not like looking that good after I like opened poker for myself. So like a standard story for many of us, like I started with poker strategy, $50, which is a famous thing.
ah.
Yeah, I busted like not even $150. People in Russia were doing it. People in Russia were doing it like an account for your mom, for your grandmother, for everybody.
All
Now I can tell it. It's like 10 years, more than 10 years ago.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so that was basically free money for those who don't know, which you get from poker strategy. So I struggled for a while. Then I started making some money, and with the time going, I was playing no limit hold'em first, like heads up SNGs and everything. Some MTTs, multi table tournaments, everything online. Not much live experience in poker I have. And then I switched to PLO, which is the most beautiful game. Pod Limit Omaha, like for sure. And from now for I think 2 years already, I'm also coaching in the. They say it's the biggest in the world. I don't know for sure, but we have it's a poker fund, like an organization which stakes players, gives players money, and gives them some infrastructure to develop and everything. So we have more than 300 players in the poker fund.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, and like very nicely organized. All of them are Russian speaking, like not exactly from Russia,
Mm.
maybe, but Russian speaking, and like that's how my life goes. I pretty much play online every day. Still, I would say, because like it's been
Mm.
more than 10 years and a lot of people left. Like I saw people coming and leaving, and I'm still there.
Interesting, interesting. So, do you actually remember how you found out about poker? Because to me, I didn't even know that about that game. Maybe I saw some movie where people were playing in a bar with the guns, but I'm born in Russia as well, and I know there are some. We were actually playing Russian card games for a long, long time with some beer, and then yeah, I didn't actually even know about Chris Moneymaker, but somehow maybe it's because of the internet. I just saw an ad, or I saw perhaps about the free money and just got into it. I don't even remember exactly why I started playing. How did you find out about poker?
Yeah, so in Russia, it's the same story for like many players of my age. We had that TV poker show actually. Uh, yeah,
Oh,
in like in the general television, so you can every like once or twice a week. I think at night there was like because for prime time it was not interesting. I guess
right.
yeah, we had that commentator Ilya Gorodetsky, who is like
Okay.
well known in the Russian poker community. He's an ex chess player, so which is a common story too, like switching from
Yeah.
chess to poker. So he was a wonderful commentator. Like for us, for guys who were just uh, it was our first time seeing somebody playing poker. He made it like so good. So he was always speaking about professionals and everything that how does it work, basically how you can make money playing poker, that it's a game of skill. And it just like I saw it first time, then second time, then I can try. I googled it, and yeah, that's that's
Uh,
a story for many Russian players. Like, and
right.
we everybody thanks him for that. Like most of the people, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, so interesting that I was living at that time in Germany. I'm still living here. We didn't have that, but at one point, I think we got high stakes poker, this show with Daniel Negreanu and stuff like that. But and I actually still remember the. I kept on. I remember watching Gus Hansen, how he would just move all in all the time, and that's what I did quite a bit. And I remember seeing this cooler hand of Nigriana against Gus Hansen, quads were quads, and dreaming of stacking someone as well like that. But mostly I got stacked in those bad coolers. I still remember quads against quad. But um, you're playing high stakes, and you've been playing for high stakes for it must be like 6 7 years already. But because I remember when we first met, you were, and when I left you were already playing 10 20 and up. Are you still getting nervous when you're playing very high stakes? Is money still like, does money matter, or did you manage to think in big blinds? I think most people try doing it and do it, but it's like money is still a factor for you, or do you care about it?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I know some people who like actually they are probably the best. Like it's a famous Russian player, True Teller.
Yeah.
Who is like who is considered like one of the best, if not even the best in the game. So I've met him in person a couple of times, and people say that he has that approach you're talking about. Like he can think of in big blinds. He doesn't care much about the variance and stuff. For me it's not a story, like definitely I still like have sweaty hands, like my mouse is covered with wet all the time I play.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I would even say more for me it is like with the years going I found it that for me it's important to play high, because like when money doesn't matter for me I can't concentrate, I can't perform at the like required level to beat the games. So I perform best at the highest stakes. So now I try to like in the recent years I've tried playing higher stakes, like one 200, even two four games, 200 400. And like I like it was my best game, like by far, because it's not a lot of tables at the same time, and I can perform really really well. I guess like it's a double-edged sword, right? I can it I can't concentrate, like I can't. Some people play like from 510 to 100, 200. They just don't care, right? It's big blinds. It's big blinds. For me, if I have two tables, it's like 25-50, and like 510. On 510, I'm just the biggest fish if I play at the same time, because I just don't care. So
Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting that you're saying you're playing better at when the stakes, when the money matters to you, so you force yourself more to be focused. I agree on that from my experience, but and what I remember is that it was not a good idea to have different stakes at the same time, because especially I, if you have like one 50-100 table and one 510 table, you don't even care about the 510 table, you because it's like seems like play money. But there's so many people who have such a strong approach, who just play any stakes really 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 good. There is actually a story. Do you know who, do you remember CTS?
yeah,
I don't know if you,
yeah,
all right, right, I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but he used to play no limit back then 2-4. He would grind 2-4 just like he did 500 1K. This is it was really impressive to me to be so professional, like you're saying, true teller who is a machine. um who, yeah, yeah, that's an awesome approach in my opinion, to think about it. Like, yeah, I mean, he must be a robot, I would say. he's it's not human, it's not human the way he's playing. But it's interesting that you are still getting a little bit nervous when you're playing. It never seemed to me like that. I remember we played very little against each other, but I actually always thought that to you it seemed uh, like you didn't care too much. But yeah, see, there you go.
yeah, yeah. A lot of hidden
Uh,
secrets, you know.
yeah, right. If you are playing live poker, uh, how do you manage that then? Because if you are saying that you get nervous in live poker, I guess it's a big tell to people. You really have to worry about that people gonna see that you're getting nervous. And I know you played in Barcelona, and maybe do you play sometimes live in tournaments or cash games?
Well, I don't do actually that much, but I've recently been to Cyprus. They
Ah,
had a pretty nice series there, and like it takes time to adjust to live games for me. That's for sure. Because not only the nerves, like the nerves, probably some guys get me, like they always stare at me like, what the fuck are you going to see? Like I'm trying to be
yeah.
stone faced, but I guess they're picking up sometimes. But still, like live players are so bad that it doesn't matter. Like
All right.
I was shocked. Like this is the new trend we have in pot limit Omaha. The 5 card PLO is just,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's so
All right.
it became so popular these days. So I've studied the game a little bit, like with my coaching stuff and everything, and like when you like peel off four cards is like it's people know how to play it more or less, right? But 5 cards is
Mm,
just like mayhem. They do all this stuff, like it's just wild, you know. So
yeah, yeah.
if I like sometimes I might be nervous, but I'm just keeping myself from laughing during the hand. Like I literally want to laugh. Like some guys are doing, like he makes a bet, and I'm just, what the fuck are you doing? Like, is this
Yeah.
real world? What are you doing? What are you thinking? And he's just he makes money playing poker. So
It's crazy. So Cyprus, there are many people from Greece playing over there,
Yeah,
or what?
I've met a couple of guys. Yeah, they told me that they had more of them. They also told me that there's a group of Israeli guys who are just
Oh yeah, yeah,
amazing, but I haven't seen them,
yeah,
so that's just
yeah,
a
yeah.
rumor.
So I guess also getting into live games. I remember that as well when I was playing live, and I can tell you that I really had issues. I still remember that it's not like a bad beat, but when I was in Barcelona actually, so I was playing. I think it was I don't know what stakes, but a guy three no, I think I three bet he four bet, and a flop came like I don't know 7-7 7-7-4, and he bet, and I called with jacks because he bet so small, and then on a turn which is a blank he goes like, I it must be you must be Hollywooding so good. And it was a question to me, he was asked actually, and I'm like, what am I Hollywooding? And then he just insta went all in. So basically he asked me, uh, I actually gave him the answer that I'm not Hollywooding, that I have something like Jax. And yeah, and I realized it just 1 minute later because in online if someone chats to you you can think about it, but live you probably do you think there is an edge with if you study psychology, and do you think some people are playing the way that they try to ask specific questions or like staring at you like you said that gives you an edge?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like I don't quite know how to call the skill, but there is definitely it's more of an art, you know. It's an art.
Yeah.
Like old school live poker guys, Russian speaking ones, like we had them in Cyprus this journey. So they like their intuition about all this that stuff you were speaking about, it's just amazing, you know, because like I realized that I don't have it, and it takes years for like every
All
intuition
right, right.
in your life. So they're not only speaking, like they're making their bets some way, like to give you a fake tale or something. They also like between the hands they're speaking to you, and
Oh wow.
sometimes I'm speaking to a guy like I'm just chatting, you know, I'm having a good
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and then like in a minute I realized that what the fuck, he was just asking about how I think about the game. He just wanted to
yeah,
have
yeah.
some information from me, and it was just like a regular conversation basically. But afterwards I realized that he gained some information from that. So there, it's a very complicated thing to describe, but it definitely exists. So there is some skill which you get when playing live.
I believe like it's even more than that, because like you face a decision at the poker table, and you want to be in your comfort zone to focus on this. But if another guy talks to you, he intrudes in your comfort zone, like because you want to think this out. And I believe that's like, at least for me, that was the most difficult part to handle when someone tries to chat with you. It's not about like him gaining any information or myself giving up information, which can happen too, but it's more like that he takes control by invading your comfort zone. And like if you react to this, if you say like shut the fuck up, or you try
Mm.
to act as if nothing, like you try to be cool, but still it influences your decision making. And I like it's the same in football. Like, when someone takes a penalty, then the players come over and try to ask him, or talk to him, and it's not about getting information, but just disturbing him in his decision making process.
Yeah. You definitely like get the point there. That's a thing too. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree. It's actually so we can talk a little bit about how what we what how you can translate the skills you are getting from poker to maybe business. And I can tell that In business, if you are talking to your boss, let's say, or let's say you want a job and you get into an interview, the boss is just doing it every day. He's talking to new employees who want a job, and he's so good at asking questions, and you can prepare the whole week. He's gonna realize, like, my boss is so good at it, he just realizes that you will work, so he doesn't have to pay you more, or that you won't leave, or which person he should hire and shouldn't hire. They're just so good at it because they're doing it for, and he can ask you a question and then another question. You won't be able to like, yeah, it's impossible. It's really tough to compete against those guys. So Dennis, the question I have is, you've been playing high stakes for so long. Do you think that the skills you, or what are the skills you got through poker that you would say are relevant in your daily life? Maybe, is there any skill, or did it shape you as a person, the game
Yeah,
of
the,
poker?
the game definitely, like, I as a person, I've evolved with the game, and it helped me actually. Like, I have two things to say here. First, I had like huge psychological issues, like, as a person, not only as a player, but it transferred to poker for me, and I had to put in some work. I had like a psychotherapist, which I visited every week for like several years. Um, it started like, I had issues with discipline, basically, like all my life, yeah. And it's with the years going, I realized that it is very hard to like conquer it, or to do some, like, hard stuff. You have to just accept that you have some problems and live with it. So it this thing helped me, like tremendously. uh, and if I had no poker in my life, I'm pretty sure that I would skip that. So I would never go to, like, I would never go to have some help with that. And it
Mm,
helped me a lot, like, in my life. I was in a marriage, and I got divorced several years ago. And only like, because of this work I put in my, like,
mm.
personal development, if you can say so. So basically, poker got me divorced. So
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, I need to make sure that my wife won't listen to this podcast, and Herbert as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in a
Uh,
strange way, but yeah, it had. And the second thing, like, in the Russian poker community, we had a lot of discussions on that topic, like, how do you transfer, like, for a long time, people were just discussing that, like, poker players are so smart. They can rationally think, and everything. I don't find it very very, like, to
mm,
be true that much. But I think uh, what you learn, the main thing you learn from poker, like, every player who comes to the game learns that, um, how does the effort and result loop works. So you don't always have
mm,
results when you put effort in regular life, the same as in poker. But you still have to go on, go on with your efforts, go on with what you're doing. Like, for me, this is the story, like, of my poker career. I had a lot of ups and downs, and poker taught me to get through it, just to keep grinding, keep doing what you do. That's the main lesson I get from poker. And this is for sure gets me a big advantage in regular life, because I see it in all people that they give up too fast. They give up on your life,
mm,
on their life. They give up on their goals and everything. And in poker, if you give up too fast, like, you may never get it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I think what poker is giving you, it's teaching you how to grind. It like actually there is a new book from Arnold Schwarzenegger, what it's called, Be Useful. I actually recommend it. I mean, I read his first book and the second one, and there are a couple of things which are interesting. And he's talking about like you need to force yourself in situations where it's tough, because then you're learning. And he's saying he got very lucky actually, and the reason for it is that because he was bodybuilding, he was working out. He said it's very simple. If you're working out, every time you're working out and it's not hurting, you realize nothing is growing. So you know that once the pain is coming, you're done, because that's where you learned. And so I guess people who are getting into sports very early in their lives, and they realize in sport you also have to, like you mentioned, you were playing football and soccer, you have to grind in order to get something. And many jobs in life are not like that. You like you just you don't get this mindset. And now I'm in regular business, just working, and I realized actually that poker was very, very tough. It was really tough. The grinding was really tough at times. When I was playing poker, I was thinking, "Wow, it's, it's so easy," but it wasn't. It wasn't. And do you have, like, you're still in poker? Have you tried like moving out of poker or doing something else, or do you know people who started doing something else? Maybe you can get into a little bit to the topic of greenline poker, who used to play as well and started his own business.
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, your question about like quitting poker, I think about quitting poker every losing session. Like, so, th-
Okay.
that so I have these thoughts, and like at the point when you have some money, like you have some time in the future when you can provide yourself, you're just at times it gets really tough and you're thinking about quitting. I think like people who, like, only the guys who we were speaking about, who are like robots, they probably don't have it, but all the other people, they do. So and about the green line, yeah, uh, you know, actually, Arthur in Russian.
Arthur,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I,
Arthur.
I will name him in Russian. Okay, Artur. Artur is a great guy, and he like we had some conversations with him. He was a pretty good. He's that disciplined guy who was like game selecting very good. He had never had like a big losing streak because his game selection was perfect. And he made some money playing poker. He was a very good player actually, and he told me that during his whole career, he like he realized that he was not the guy to play poker, uh, because his skill set, like his personality, was very good for actually for making business. And then I guess the with the time going, he saw the opportunity of making that like stable poker fund, and he just went with it. He's really good at it, I would say. Yeah, he has the mindset, he has the skills, he has everything. And um, it's actually a story for a lot of poker players. Like uh, we spoke about the guys, like some high stakes guys, they say, I will play poker for life, like as long as it exists. uh, and a lot of the guys actually in poker, and I know some of them like personally, they don't like the games that much. And of course it's very hard to like achieve success, like being a top pro without like loving the game. Very few of top pros, probably none of them, like don't love the game. They all love it. uh, and but for a lot of guys, it was easy money, and they were playing poker until it was easy money. And at some point, maybe like several years ago, like I don't know, 6 7 years ago, when the games started to go tougher and tougher, and the traffic started to go lower and lower. Like it wasn't a big like jump, but it was like steadily going down, the traffic, I mean. And they realized that that's the time also with crypto, with all the bull runs they had.
Yeah.
It was easy to jump out of poker. So for a lot of guys, the game is not that romantic as it is for me, for example. Like for me, it's a constant battle, competing and everything. And for a lot of guys, it's not. And they're actually uh, like this. We have a success story with Arthur, but for some of the guys, it's very hard to quit poker because like they've spent 10 years playing the game, uh, and now they don't know what to do. They don't have the skill set for any other job. uh, like I don't know. And speaking about transferring your skills from poker to another area, probably trading is like looks
Mm.
similar. I don't know, but what else? What else? So yeah,
Mm.
it's not always that like romantic.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. And when you're talking about crypto, there is actually this story about CTS being he was a billionaire at one point, some guy said, where he had crypto and it traded so high. And I remember that I was about to buy it when it was a couple of pennies. And then I read the thread on 2+2 where Green Plastic. Do you know who Green Plastic is?
I know the nickname. It's like a poker coach from back in the day.
Yeah, it's Card Runners. It's a owner of he and Muddle Water, I think it was. They created Card Runners, and he said, "Guys, crypto is a bubble. I can clearly show you that on the graph." And I was like, "Yeah, right. I mean, it's green plastic. Actually, green plastic is a very interesting story. That the guy, he was the best heads up player, I think, when he quit, and he quit when I think he would have made like, I mean, 1 million a month, probably easily, easily. And he quit because he went to create card. I think he studied something else as well. CTS also quit fairly quickly. What do you think about, like, so we when we look at the poker players, some people just keep on playing. Um, even and there are some players who could have played on, like if you think about CTS, even Galfond looks like he quit basically, maybe because he's in the US, but Kumikon or Kumikon, however, he was making like 7 million and said like, I'm done. Why do you think those people are quitting poker when they could play and make huge amount of money, but they still quit the games? Do you think they don't like it anymore?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a very tough question, because like it depends on the person. So for some of like speaking about Kumikon, I was so impressed with the podcast he had with Joe
Yeah.
Rogan. Like I've played Kumikon a lot, and he basically crushed me, as everybody. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so he was so burnt out, like you
Ah,
can tell it, like uh, I'm not like exaggerating or anything. Like first 5 minutes of that podcast with Joe Ingram, I was sitting in front of the monitor with my mouth open because I couldn't believe a guy like put himself in that state of mind and like personal well-being. I mean, he made millions, but he was like, if I met him like in a restaurant or like in the street, I would like pat him on the shoulder, like, bro, what's up with you? Like, how you doing? Can I help you? Like,
yeah.
because like jokes aside, he's like one of the craziest regulars we had. Yeah, and for him, I don't know how he puts it, but like for me, the impression was like he got completely burned out, because like when you put so much energy, so much of your like time, like all the resources basically you have in the game, with the time, it's like you're just a human. And for like professional uh, sportsmen, for example, it's not quite like that. Like, yes, you have like 2 training sessions a day, but when you play poker, you play fucking 12 hours a day, and you have to perform at the highest level in every hand. In every hand, you can't
Yeah,
miss a
yeah,
hand, because you miss a hand, you like your win rate goes down. Like, that's it.
yeah.
And for some of the guys, it was just money. Like my best friend Vova, which you know,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, I met him in poker. Also, we had that wonderful like meetings of Russian-speaking players, of Russian-speaking forum back in the days, and we actually have them now, but they are not that good anymore. So
Okay.
yeah, so he's like he is, and a lot of people are in the poker just for money. Like people maybe enjoy the game in the first few years, but then you approach it as like more or less as a regular job, when you where you come to make some money to provide yourself. Yeah, so yeah, and that is why like people can't stay in poker anymore, because it's
Mm,
very hard. Like when you have so many years in the game, it's very hard to maintain that like passion. Yeah, if you don't
yeah.
have one naturally. So
Right.
I find
Right.
that
Yeah.
very interesting what you said. I never thought about this that way. That people who are in poker for the money, which was clearly my case. I saw me in your analysis. I was a professional for 7 years, and then I was burned out a little bit for a variety of reasons, and I found it each time tougher to, well, cope with the downswings, or even like to constantly improve my game. I believe that was the biggest part. And you mentioned like 6 7 years ago, uh, it was the time when the solvers came up and changed the entire basic strategy you had to follow, which was totally unintuitive, even for professionals, because you looked at this, what the solver was saying, and said that's bullshit. Like, that's how a fish plays. And then,
Yeah.
like, I said to myself, maybe the problem is me, and I can't see it anymore, because you accumulate a lot of knowledge during your poker career, and then in order to build up on it, you have to remove some part you learned before, which is outdated now. And I found that become more difficult over time, and every year, every month you were in it, I found it more difficult to compete again with the young guys who just learned like this new strategy now, and were way more flexible and more aggressive in moving forward than I was. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's the toughest part. Also, like keeping up with the game. Yeah.
Right. It's really tough. And I actually remember the podcast of Kumikon, and he was just so happy that he finally could quit. It was interesting. He was just so he didn't. People were like begging for coaching. I mean, I know that some people paid Jeans like. I don't know what Jeans was charging, like 1K, 2K an hour, maybe 800. That was a lot, but Kumikon could have gotten maybe like 5K per hour. And he said, no, keep the money. I don't want your money. Um, I just want to quit forever. I'm not going to answer any questions. And I remember he was living just in a basic apartment with a basic. He was grinding like on a laptop with like 20 tables, and he was online all. He was blocking all the tables. I remember I had to play him as well. I didn't know it was him, and I was doing too bad. But then I real and a guy told me that's Kumiko, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then I started losing obviously because I know he yeah. And he was Yeah, he was grinding, and it's actually he's very interesting because I think if you want to be good, you gotta love the game or you gotta love the job you're doing. It's so tough to be good without passion because you need to put in the work. And he didn't seem to like the games that much. And he also said he didn't even work with solvers. He was just so good at exploiting people. That's very interesting guy. And I would also actually say that in real business, you have people like that as well. So many people who are working in a for banks, when they start working, they have an exit plan already. They say in 10 years they're done because you cannot work longer. The job is just so tough. They go into the job for the money and then they quit and then they do what they really like. And yeah, I guess poker got you. People got into poker and said, I'm going to try it out. And then, oh, there is so much money. I'm going to stick with it. And then one more year,
Yes,
and
yes,
then and then it's 10 years.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you get a new project, you start doing other stuff. And what would you say then is because you're in the green line project involved and you're coaching a lot, does it uh, I would assume it's a good mix instead of just playing, so you teach people. Is it giving you something back? Do you feel like it's more balanced than just grinding?
Well, I will put it simple. It was the best decision, like in my poker career, to start coaching in Greenline. And I told you that I had always suffered in the past with a lack of discipline. So basically, it got me on a new level as a player. So this is like the main thing, and like the main uh, like my success as a coach is actually uh, becoming a better player myself. And the second, I don't know, I will put it like it's equal. It's not that one is more important. The second one is people. It's just it's in poker you're always, like, at least for me, I always miss that networking part, you know.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I agree.
yeah, and Green Line gave me the opportunity. We had that actually we had that huge party at the yacht. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen the
yeah,
picture.
yeah.
I've seen the picture. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was just like a month ago, so it was like one of the most amazing experiences I've had, because I met all the guys, the guys that I were coaching, the players, the coaches, and everything. So uh, for me, like as a person, it's a huge thing to get more people and to help people also, because like these are special people who come to for staking. Like a lot of them
yeah.
actually are pretty good players, but for some reasons, like one of the guys like bought an apartment, you know, for his whole
All right,
fucking
right.
row. It's
Yeah.
well, it's his financial decision.
All
So
right.
now he needs to be staked. He's like a super tough player. He's really good. They also come in like for coaching from Gragik. They think that I can give some magic for them. Uh, it doesn't always happen, but I hope I help them. Yeah, but. Like socializing in poker is so hard, and it like the environment with other players, it's just amazing if you can get it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I was also enjoying when I was coaching and making videos. It and I guess if you manage as a poker player to be living with other poker players in a big house or something like that, if you don't have a wife or kids, that's really easily to be done. That really helps you because then you can talk about hands not on Skype but in a real person. Then the game becomes much more fun because otherwise you're also like you're waking up, you're playing, or you're playing at night, and if you go to some, you meet some friends or someone else, they ask you, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't talk with them about it, which is really tough, because yeah, it's just so special what
Yeah. Oh,
for the
what
poker
are you
players.
doing? What are you? I'm deadening every night. I'm a deadgin.
Yeah, it's internet. I almost said I had some internet stuff, and people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be boring. All right, let's talk about football or
Yeah.
something like that." So it's
What's your general approach on that, guys? Do you like? Did you tell people that like most of the time that you were playing poker for life, or how was that?
At least for me, I always did. It was never really a secret, and like even like many people in the street, they asked me, what are you working? And I said, I'm a poker player, and they were, oh, that's great. And like at least here, like in Spain, when I was a pro, the feedback was more or less always very positive. With, like it had a romantic touch, or like
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
see.
And well, I never got any problems. You get sometimes problems. I had this in the past. If you're looking for a job, and I had the impression that poker is a red flag, because there's this cliche of like you play in the back chambers with whiskey, and everyone has three guns on him, and you cheat like in the old westerns, and then you get shot. Like I had that impression a little bit, and yeah, we obviously know that's quite the contrary. Um, but I wanted to come back to this quitting story, because I believe we missed an important point there. Um, we all know a lot of people who quit poker with a plan B or plan C, and then they oscillated, like they quit poker and said, I want to do something new, and then they got in a real job, 8 to 5. You go there, you get your salary, and they couldn't handle that, because they were used to huge swings every day, and adrenaline spikes every minute, and then they, even like stressful jobs are boring to them. um, um, and I wanted to catch on this. Like, do you know people too who quit poker and then did something half a year, came back, quit again, and are between the two worlds a little bit? Um, so my real question for this is, like, do you already plan your exit strategy, or are you the one of the guys who say, I will play until I die?
Uh, as I was saying, I'm thinking about quitting like every now and then, and but I don't have a plan actually. I have that dream of mine from back in the days of like doing some science or something. But like as I said, like being a degen for 10 years doesn't help in science, you know. uh, so uh, actually, I have some experience from what you were describing the situation. Like when I was in the university, I've started playing like in the middle. Like I was studying for 6 years. I started playing in the year four, I think, or something. And I was actually making some money with it, like to provide myself. But when I graduated from university, I switched to like the Russian thing, like PhD in Europe, like to be prepared for PhD. Uh, and I was just like as you were like describing it, oscillating, right? Should I play poker? Should I switch to a regular job? Should I do science? I don't know. And like at the time I had that pressure from my parents and all the relatives and like people I know. Like poker is like in Russia, it's even worse. You know, you tell that like uh, people have that experience that it's whiskey and guns. In Russia, we have a very bad reputation for gambling. Like it's ridiculous because back in the Soviet Union, uh, we had that thing like in um, trains, when you're on a journey, they had those guys who were just walking in the train and playing people for money in the games. We call them schuler in Russia.
Ah,
What's the hustler, right? What's the English word
yeah,
for it?
yeah.
Yeah, so like basically my grandmother thought I was like, I don't know, killing people or something, or I was about to kill like every night, or at least to lose my like apartment. That's the bottom. Uh, so yeah, I was getting a lot of pressure, and uh, like my friend, not a girlfriend, like we were studying together in the university. She was like making quite a good career at that point, and she knew me as like, a smart guy and everything, good grades. She proposed me to apply for a job, and actually I've worked at that time, after the PhD preparation. I worked for like half a year in the office in the regular job. I remember it as the worst time in my life, literally. Like, I mean it. Because like the state of mind I had at that point, even now when I go back to that, it's all blurry. I'm in the fog. Every day is like the same. I don't have that adrenaline, which you were talking about. And like for 1, 2, 3 months, I handle it. And then I was really, it was really hard for me to go to the job. Like literally, I wake up in the morning, and that like state of mind, I just can't go. And basically I was like a zombie for half a year. Then I quit, and like from that point, I've never looked back. But I think I get how people feel. Especially like for me, it was not the job I liked. This is the first like point I should mention. But a lot of people switch back and forth. And uh, Vladimir said that he has some experience with business, right? And he says that uh, like uh, so maybe you have, like, I don't know, some skills which you can transfer from poker to business and everything. But in Russia we have in Russian poker forums we have a meme for that, like a poker businessman. This is the guy who quits poker for 1 year at most, and then he goes back, like failing at some like business adventure he had. So yeah, it's really, really, really hard to switch to real life from poker, especially if you hooked up on that thing. But I know some successful stories also. Just recently, we've been to Argentina with my girlfriend. We were planning to stay for long there, but we had to leave. We've met a guy whom I know for like several years. He played poker. He never really got to high stakes or something, but he switched to uh, doing the job in the crypto company, which was actually organized by other poker players. So there are some success stories. And those guys, uh, I don't know them personally. I know the guy. He's doing like some coding stuff or something, and he's super rational. It helps in that. And he never liked the game. He always approached it. He never like had super passion for it. He always approached it as a source of income, and I think that helped him a lot. In Because like for me, having those I'm super excited when I play, and he never wasn't. and it helped him switching a lot, not having that passion, I would say. So this is like one of the things that are in common for all the people. Those who have passion, they quit very hard.
Yeah, I would say that I realized at one point, maybe that's like 7 6 7 years ago, you could start telling people you're playing poker because first of all, Germany had a world champion, Pio Science, who was on television, and people realized it's not gambling. Like it's through media and all that stuff. It's like nowadays, if you say you're an influencer on YouTube, they're like, "All right, you must be rich," because people realize it's a real job. Like if you're gaming, you could even play Warcraft and stuff like that. I recommend the new biography from Elon Musk, and that guy used to play Street Fighter when he was grinding PayPal with Peter Thiel. So he was yeah. So it's the the whole society understands it now, and I will say that it really depends which company you want to go for. If you want to work for the government or like some conservative company, poker could be really bad. But smaller companies, and for me in business, they all want to hear what I did. They find it super interesting because maybe it has to do that they know that you're doing your job well. So then they realize poker must have helped you. I guess you then it helps. And I mean, the whole working um, society realizes it's not like Elon Musk is weird and Steve Jobs was weird. So it's not the typical guy who just went to school, university, and stuff. And some companies even want weird guys because they know they're thinking outside the box. And I would also argue that there must be many poker players who started a business and we don't know about them because they were never on forums and they probably don't even want their partners to know that they played poker. Maybe that's the case as well sometimes. Like think about Barry Sweet,
Yeah,
uh,
always incognito.
who yeah, he's scared about the gangs in Sweden and stuff like that. Maybe or Isildur, even that guy. I mean, there are some pictures he never made an interview. Even Dur, like and there must be, especially from the early years where money was just everywhere. Like you could, I mean, well, yeah, it was insane. So actually, we forgot something about your screen name. The story. Tell us the story about behind your screen name.
No story to be told here. Actually, it was just a random name. I was really impressed that, like, when I came to those Leaf series, like tournaments, people, oh, Gragik, Gragik. People call me all like it's pretty complicated, I guess, for people. So Gragik is just, I don't know, it's just whatever. So it just stick to me. I was pretty dumb as I uh, got the same screen name in every site that I played on. So that was a dumb decision. But and I was also like registering in every possible site that was available. So I had this for a long time. Like I had the same screen name in everywhere. So nowadays it's for me it's pretty tough. Like I like playing heads up one-on-one poker, so
Yeah,
it's pretty tough to find action. So uh, to tell you a little secret, now there's a coin poker, a Tony G site. Uh, I think some people don't know the screen name, so I have some action there actually. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So what is we talked in the last podcast about the screen names, and I do you remember Brock Lesnar
Yes, I do.
on
He's a
Stars? Yeah.
basketball coach. Basketball
Oh,
coach. Yeah, somebody told me that he quit poker to coach basketball.
wow,
Yeah,
crazy, crazy. I mean, and this Brock Lesnar, someone told me is a fighter. It's like MMA
yeah,
fighter or
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. so people like to play him. So when I got to American Card Room, I actually took the name Mayweather,
Yeah.
and people joined me. So is there like a strategy behind taking a name to get the weaker players or to get action? Do you follow some strategy?
No, it's very tough to follow strategy in the year 23, because like
Okay.
there are like 30 of us left in the high stakes, so everybody knows everybody. So yeah,
Uh,
and you know people, and like basically sometimes you play on a new site, or something. You're playing for some time. You're thinking, who is that? Like, if the guy is in need, like it is super hard to recognize needs, because like a tight players, there are so many of them, right? But if the guy does some stuff, you just basically in 1-2 sessions, hi, that's you. I know you. I know you. Yeah.
wow.
So
Wow. Yeah.
for high stakes, that's not that doesn't help. On some new sites, like I got like busted my account on coin poker playing Sanita. That's my rival, big
Wow.
rival.
Wow.
He
Wow.
has a strange nickname there. Like I should guess he was open sitting the lobbies. I could guess it's Sanita, but like it took me some time, and some money also.
It, it's interesting that you mention him because I remember him playing almost micro small stakes. It's always surprising me that even um, in at times where the games are so tough, and like you almost feel like there is no development possible, almost like, but there are still people rising up the stakes. Does it still happen as often, or is it like, because he moved up? I've seen some hands on 2550 on a threat on 2+2, and I noticed him, and I remember playing him. He wasn't even playing, he was bum hunting, I think, but then he turned to be good. It same applies to like yeah, basically I'm surprised it's still happening.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's like a common thing, common argument these days, that it is much easier these days to get better, as you have like all the information possible. Like the solver stuff, you don't even have to work in the solver itself, like in all that like complicate, like for pot limit Omaha, it's fucking ridiculous. We have that Monker solver, which looks like an application from the year 99, I would say. Like it just I mean it's impossible to work in. You have to, but yeah, but you have all the videos, like people chew the things, like how do you say it, like you don't have to work, you just can watch videos, that's it for you. And speaking about Sanita, I think that his secret is that he's super concentrated on one discipline. So he's playing only heads up. He used to play only 4 cards. Now he's switching to 5 cards. He's also very good there. I've played him recently. Like as I told you, like it was a mistake. So he uh, and with his approach, he's preparing for every session. Like what I don't do. Like we've played a session, uh, like I start to get a grasp on his game, like where I can at least like go even with him. And then he comes back and he's doing new stuff, and like it's just if you have discipline, and if you I would say that these days you have to concentrate on like one thing. You can be like, you can choose like a main site or application games. You concentrate on it, like put your all your effort there, and you will succeed still. Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm, interesting. Interesting.
As we are talking about well-known people in the poker scene, who was the most famous or most popular person you played with in your
I
career?
guess, yeah, I guess Isildur. Yeah, I remember that session on 2550 when it was like the biggest stakes I was playing at the moment. Uh, and he always like, you know the story. He always came, like, opened all the fucking tables he could and just played everybody. So I was in the lobby at the moment. I got unlucky, I would say. So he just sat and like today, of course, like I'm pretty sure I would beat that Isildur from the past. But that day, oh my god, it was just terrible. I at times, like when you're playing heads up, uh, for me it is super important to get some warm up, to get into the dynamics, the sizings and everything, so that you can just navigate intuitively in most situations. And no warm up is possible with Isildur. Like from like first 5 minutes you get like 5 4 bets. You get all the stuff, like check raising rivers and everything, and it's impossible to, you have to be like prepared from the first minute. And he just crushed me. He basically
Yeah.
like tore me apart. So that was
Yeah, I actually, I was gonna say that I really hated those guys who would three bet and three bet like on stars. I even had guys before I raised pre-flop. I already saw the three bet. It was lagging and stuff, and it's so annoying because it's pressure. It's psychological pressure. You're thinking on the flop in a three bet pot about calling or folding. You are so unsure. You call, and then the turn pot comes right away into you, and you have no decision to like focus back in. And actually, I remember playing against. Do you know Harrington 25? Is he still playing? It's this guy who multi-accounted a lot.
I know the screen name, but I'm not sure. I play.
He wasn't playing under the screen name. He always had new screen names, and he had a unique style. He was like three betting a lot and then betting the flop super small. He was making you tilt so bad. Um, he wasn't even playing good, but that stuff really worked back in the day. I don't know about nowadays, but it's interesting that you're saying so discipline is just so important nowadays to focus and to work on your game. So what would your advice actually be to players who are playing part-time or to new players? What should they what would you do if you started playing poker today?
Well, it's the first thing you have to like these days. It's kind of boring, and the first thing you have to know is rake. So you should find the best environment for you to develop in, rake wise, because uh, in the lower stakes, the games are for sure beatable. Like they are beatable up to high stakes still, and you can still go from bottom to the top in a couple of years. Like I know the guys. Like we have that young Russian guy who is just rising up. He has the mentality of the champion, so I'm pretty sure he will be on top limits soon. So and then just suck in the all the information you can. It's all available on YouTube right now. You don't even have to buy like a subscription or something. It's on YouTube. Like they put so much content out there that yeah. And the like for me, one of my main coaching experiences was that people don't know the fundamentals. Like learn the fundamentals. That Bill Chen book, uh, how old is this book? Like I don't know, 55 years or something. uh,
Not quite, but I believe it's not of this century. I believe it came out in
yeah,
98
probably.
by
Wow.
Probably, yeah. It's still like it's mathematics. It doesn't change with time,
Mm.
so just learn it, because uh, nobody quite understands it, the fundamentals up to the highest limits. On in the top games, all the guys uh, know the fundamentals pretty good, but up to in pot limit Omaha up to 510, people are just they they don't understand the basics. Like I can see it by their decisions. So if you learn the basics, you're good to go. See you in high stakes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna deposit.
Yeah.
It's Friday. It's Friday. I have some time. When my daughter is in bed, I will. I will. Actually, yeah, I miss those days where you could. Where and Herbert said about it in real jobs. If you have, it's tough to get to a job which is slow. So a slow job where you can't make decisions. You are getting used at poker to making decisions, and you want to make decisions. Also, you want to move up. Like you are. Yeah, it's yeah, it's a competitive game, and if you are in a job where which is slow, where it's everything is taking so long, oh yeah, it's gonna kill you. That's yeah. So
Vladimir,
and
you're still a success story of quitting poker. So please just
yeah, yeah. It's well, but like I said many times, I like it's interesting. You're saying in the Russian forum, people are saying, yeah, business, go to business. Make people are making mistakes. There are many stories of poker players who invested money in stuff and it failed, but I think it that's normal. Um, Even Phil Galfond opening run at once. Many people are saying, why is he doing it? Guy is super smart, but maybe he had an idea. But I still would say poker players underestimate their skills. It just you probably have to find a way to balance it. But otherwise, you're learning so quickly, so much. Um, that's why this game is so great.
yeah. Actually, like I have a little story about the about bad investments we had in the Russian poker
Oh,
forum.
let's go.
Yeah. Um, how do you say it? Like you rise up money for business, right? You
You raise the money.
raise, sorry, yeah, you
Yeah,
raise money, and how do you call it, a round, right? A round of
Fundraising,
fundraising.
fundraising.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can.
rounds
Yeah,
of fundraising. Yeah. So in, in the Russian poker forum, that was a legendary story. Just a guy showed up on the forum. Nobody knew him, and like he started being active, like posting and everything, like poker related. So he knew something about the game, and he also knew that there are a lot of easy money in the game, and not at the tables, not at the tables in the poker forum. So he started that, like I don't know, some business or some stuff. I don't even remember the details of the business, but he was so good at like describing all the details and everything. And at some point uh, he declared that we are starting a round of fundraising, so he had, I think, 2 or 3 rounds, and he got like 1 million probably from poker players.
wow.
So that was really easy money, uh, in the end, internet detectives found out that he was somehow connected even with the like Russian government, some stuff like a youth organization in Russia back in the days.
Mhm.
So he was like a big scam already, and
Yeah.
we didn't know him at that time, and like that's a lot of the like stories of in poker and poker players investments, that's, and
Right.
we have that meme also, that like the round of fundraising in Russia right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, also,
So are
yeah.
are poker players really like so that's actually what you're saying is that many poker players, because the money comes in, I wouldn't say easily anymore, but still somewhat easy. Not like in a real business job, I would say. You're lending money to other players at the poker table. Like back in the day, someone would ask you, "I need 10K, ship me 10K." You send 10K, you send 20K. I was saying the story. We will have Grants on our podcast. He said you could ship 750K on full tilt in 2 seconds. They didn't even check. How is it nowadays? Are people still that way, or did people realize we need to be more like we are getting older, we are getting more serious,
Yeah, I
we
guess
are counting the dollars?
I would say it's more like the second way. People are
Mm,
getting more like tough on fundraising, uh, but still there are like a lot of things like that going on. But it switched to the app games. There you have that gap, they have like some kind of a manager who invites you to the game. He
mm,
he does all the financial stuff, and that gap is really like it costs many people a lot of money, as I know. And also, like, I have a rule for that kind of stuff. If I can't say goodbye to my money, right?
yeah.
I don't lend money or anything. I give money only when I and that's why I always forget, like with my friends and everything. They ask me like for some sum of money. I give it to them, and then like in 2 weeks they're reaching back to me. Hey, give me a couple of more days. A couple more days for what? Like, and they
Right.
say like, I owe you money. Okay, okay. I have.
Yeah, I actually have a story. I was gonna say like that it's long ago where staking just started, and I staked a guy, and he would tell me that he couldn't beat the game and show me hands, and I was like, all right. I stopped the staking at one point, but I think he was bullshitting me. It was so easy back then to filter for hands. And one guy I lent even money, he never came back, and I didn't care too much. And yeah, I like your approach, and I actually do that with my friends. I had a friend of mine; he wanted some money, and I said, "I will give it to you. It's your money, and if you want, give it back, but you don't have to give it back." It works way better. Otherwise, it's just yeah, it's too much too businesslike,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say.
After that FTX crash, the big
Mhm.
crypto exchange, I had a guy calling me. I was in Bali at that moment. Um, I barely knew the guy. Like we've met in Moscow one time, and like we didn't make friends or anything. Like I saw him once, basically. So he called me. He told me like that sick story of him having all his bankroll in FTX, and he just lost it. So he wanted some staking deal from me, and I told him my principle on that I don't lend money and everything. He was so disappointed. Like he had big hopes for me, because like I look like easy money in life. That's for sure. So yeah, that still happens. That still happens a lot because like it's gambling.
Right, right. In poker players understand that bankroll management is really important, and I guess it's more important than it was 10 years ago. I remember that 10 years ago the rule was for PLO 20 buy-ins for PLO. Nowadays, so how are the swings for you? Are they even worse than 5 years ago, or are the swings the same? And what is your rule for bankroll management?
Yeah.
Do you follow it?
Yeah, we have that joke that like, what's your bankroll management? I have a buy-in, I play, you know. So happily, it's not like that for me anymore. But I jump in. I jump in some big games like 200, 400. like I played recently in Cyprus 200 400 live games. It was pretty sick. We were flipping 5K by the morning. So you can imagine. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's I'm not by any means rolled for those games, but my like superpower was always that I stayed in the game and I could jump into the lower games after a big loss and grind it up from there. These days it's much more tough because not many like 25, 50 and above games are going. So you have to be really, really, really tough with your bankroll management, basically. But I would say that the uh, 100 you told about the 20 binds rule. For me it was always 100 binds, you know. So
Yeah.
uh, uh, it still applies, but the variance became so much higher.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
you
Wow.
can't even imagine. And with the 5 card PLO coming in,
Oh yeah.
the variance is probably, it's like you have that statistical like number, the
Mm,
standard deviation. I think it's like uh, not twice as much as in
wow.
four-cut pillow, but it's like 50% more at least. So you can imagine it's like I had a guy. I forgot his name. It's like he has a French name. He's from Canada. I don't know. It's French. Ben Vilinovsky. Uh, yeah,
Mm,
he's an old school reg too. Once he wrote in the chat of the GG poker, like we were playing at the table, and he was some guys told me that he was down, he was below EV, like the difference between the result he should have and the one he had actually was like 300K, and he was just, after losing and all in at the table, he told just this, it was 5 card pillow table. He told this game is always 50-50. It's ridiculous. It's like it's always 50-50. It's impossible to play it, like
yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. For me, actually, like I'm in the peak of my poker career, so I had my worst week like 2 weeks ago. It's I lost the most amount like for the whole career. So yeah, I'm grinding it up these days, like halfway.
Okay.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You mentioned before that obviously in the super high stakes games, you are not rolled, or at least not as a conservative bankroll management would dictate. So how do you approach these sessions? Do you set a stop loss limit, or say, okay, after 4 binds I quit, or do you go with the flow, or how do you approach these games?
Yeah, I basically set a stop loss for myself, but I never stick to it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I did as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you, Dennis, say? I mean, actually, do you have a story like all of like I do and many do, like y- back then, beginning of your career, you're playing and you're playing micros or small stakes and you go to a party. Then you get home after a few beer, you wake up, you log in, and you have twice the bankroll because you started playing under rolled higher stakes. And what I'm thinking is, I went broke a couple times as well, um, and I deposited and stuff like that. And yeah, it seems like many people have that story, which makes me think that if you many people just went broke when they took a shot at 200, 400 probably and never recovered. So what's your story
Yeah,
about the micros?
yeah. I have a story from Super Micros when I was like, it was, I was still in the university, probably the last year, and uh, like I deposited like few $100s, probably in the period of like several years, like 3 years maybe. So I wasn't depositing for a long time at that moment. So it was a great success for me, actually. Uh, and I was playing tournaments that days, and in those days, something went wrong. So I was just losing, and one night I remember the week, the week that week I was just losing every day basically. So it was Thursday or Friday. So I had it was Thursday, I think, because I had the to go to university the next day. So my girlfriend at that point was we were living with my parents. So I registered for several tournaments in that day, and I was losing everything. And I quit the session. So I had $3 left in my account. I remember it pretty clear. So it was $3 that I have left, and I was about to go to sleep. It was like 10 in the evening or something, and I had some break and stuff, and then I registered. Of course, I registered for another tournament for that $3. If you go bust, you go bust. Uh, and I was playing it. It was like 1 p.m. already, and I wasn't doing good. I had this a small stack for the whole tournament. Then I started playing, and it was actually final table coming, and I was so tired that my eyes were like I couldn't see the monitor already. Then I I said to my girlfriend, "Let's have sex in the break." So it was a 5 minute break, and
All right.
yeah. So I had sex with her during the 5 minute break. I was late a little bit because, I can last long, so it was probably like 7 minutes. Okay. So yeah, and I won that tournament actually after
Ah, there
doing
you
that.
go.
Yeah,
There you go.
and I've never deposited from that point. So it was like a key moment in my career. So
That's a success
yeah,
story.
And I
yeah,
was about to
How
ask about the secret ingredient. Why you're
yeah.
yeah,
winning? Now
there
we
you
know.
go.
That's it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's it.
There you go. But if it's your former wife, right? You married her later, or was it the yeah?
Yeah, that was her. Yeah.
So now after this podcast, I think she's gonna call the lawyer and say like the guy 50-50, right? 50-50. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it, and when we are talking about poker, it's and variance and skill. People underestimate luck still, especially taking shots. Like you could there. I remember a couple of guys. They always ran really bad when they took shots, so they never managed. And I know some people ran really good, and it helped. It helped, like because if you yeah you're just human. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? You ran good
Yeah, that's me running good. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
there. Yeah, I ran good usually as well. Just when I quit, I was running super bad, but then it doesn't matter because you're done. But yeah, it's really fascinating. Um, yeah,
I wanted to ask Dennis again, like, how do you approach your poker sessions, or how is your day to day, like a
Oh yeah.
typical day? Do
Yeah.
you get up and already heat up the tables and do breakfast at the table, or do you prepare? You have certain hours, like I play 1 hour, then I do 5 minute break, because there's everything. Like, how are you? Like, what's your approach?
Yeah, I have a ridiculous story about that. We were having that party on the yacht. Yacht? How do you say it in English properly?
yeah.
Yacht,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, a big boat, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, and the guys, they basically, I coach PLO, so no limit guys don't know me that well. They just know I play high stakes and everything. So they kind of looked up at me like, oh, it's the guy who plays high stakes, and Like, and we were like sitting on a boat having a conversation, and they asked me the same question actually, like, how do you prepare for sessions? Like, tell us the secret, you know. And like this year, we were in Bali, and my girlfriend won't let me lie, you know. I woke up in the morning, like for 4 months. I woke up in the morning. I ordered delivery. It was two coffees, two huge cappuccinos, three burgers. Uh, so and I had that smoking device like vape, so I didn't even go to shower, you know. So I just sat at the tables. I opened the whole lobby. I had some monitors there, so I opened like 20 tables to start the tables. I was eating, like, it was not even eating. I was putting food inside my body, you know, like having that coffee, smoking, and everything. And I did it like every day for 4 months, like 12-hour sessions and everything. That's how I prepared. So I told the guys that story. They were not impressed. I would say that, like the
Yeah.
least, they were just sitting with like plain faces there, like. We're doing something wrong. They thought probably, you
Yeah.
know, like all that
Yeah.
meditation stuff. I've tried it all, but like I think it's super personal for any guy. Like you have to find your way. For me, it's Dejin mode. Like when I'm Dejining, like nowadays, for the last 2 months, I'm just I became used to playing from laptop because before that I had like huge monitors and everything. I had my like setup. Now I it took me some time to use to being used to playing from a laptop. Now I put my laptop on my knees and I just sit like that for 12 hours. Like thanks to my girlfriend, she like she feeds me and everything. Uh, but that's the yeah, that's how it's going for me. Plus 10 kilos in 1 year. That's a success story, guys.
You gain 10
Yeah,
kilos.
yeah.
10 kilos. But that's all right for what you described, because you could gain way more. You're still in good shape. That's because you played some soccer back then, so it's helping
Yeah,
you a
yeah.
little.
I'm just lucky that my face fits in the camera in the phone. You know.
Yeah. And the story you're telling is that, like, oftentimes people are thinking, wow, this guy is high stakes, he must be doing something special. And in business, I actually also realized, like, my boss, even, and many CEOs, they're just human. They're just doing stupid stuff like everybody else. And there is no secret. Like, there is, and actually, it's interesting that you're saying it must fit your maybe your characters, the way you prepare, because if you force yourself to, like, follow some routine which doesn't suit you, it probably won't really help you. There is a story, um my tennis coach told me, because I know, Dennis, you're playing tennis as well, and you know Marat Safin,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
him. And Zafin once said to the camera, when they asked him, what about training, and he's like, I've got talent, I don't need to train. And my tennis coach actually said, if Zafin would have trained more, he would have probably quit tennis, because then he wouldn't enjoy it anymore. So you need to enjoy it. If you're, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I wonder if Zafin really would have trained, he would have been so good.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, uh, speaking about the like the regular human guys who achieved a lot, like the recent podcast with Elon Musk, whom you mentioned. Uh, I didn't know he was just how do you say it, cyber sportsman, right? Like
yeah,
he plays
yeah,
games. So what the fuck?
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
he has like his schedule was like every 5 minutes he does something like I don't know,
yeah.
raising funds also, right? You know. Why not? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's doing that for
yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But he's just a human being. He plays Diablo. Man, Diablo, come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there is so basically he found Z2 or something, the first company he found, which was something like Google Maps, and his company was playing Quake, and they finished second in a tournament worldwide, and just a second because one guy over crashed the computer. They would have won. So the company who was they sold it for 200 million or something. They were playing Quake. So yeah, it's interesting though. Like, I mean, I think it's giving him some energy because many times really people are thinking they're just training and sleeping all the time, but it's not the case.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I think like I was into that for some time, for a short period of time. I was into that successful success, as we say it in Russian, stuff like life coaching.
Yeah.
I had a life coach, like I had a couple of sessions. It was worthless, worthless. With the time going, I understand that it may help you if the guy is competent enough to teach you what I've told you about, like accepting yourself. This is your point, and it's super super important to accept yourself. Like speaking about Safin, uh, it's super good that he had that approach that fuck training, you know. I can handle it without training. And because if he did, he for sure would be a worse player, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, really interesting and probably applies to many other areas. Um, you need to be yourself in order to like to be able. Yeah, you just need to act completely. I wouldn't say out of your mind, but just do what you usually do without thinking. Uh, yeah, yeah. All right, so it's been a great podcast, really long podcast, and lots of interesting stories. I think we could talk for many more hours actually, and great to hear such interesting stories. And of course, we wish you to recover from the small downswing. I know you always come. Actually, I remember you told me you've been in so many downswings, and that's really something to come back stronger. I think out of the downswing, you mastered it, and that's what we wish you. And so that's all for today episode of Poker Stories Behind the Scenes.
Yeah,
If you guys enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the podcast, follow us on social media, and make sure you're gonna rail Dennis when he is on Poker Stars and support him. He will send you for sure some money like back in the day,
okay,
player
yeah,
to
yeah,
player to
fundraising,
stand.
you know.
Yeah, there you go. And yeah, if you have some questions, drop us a message. We would love to hear from you. And see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Signing
Thank
off.
you, guys. Bye.